Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlan, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. He's speaking to us today from Long Island, New York. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Pleasure to be here, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Mark, do we still have a special offer for our listeners?
We do. It is at VRTrader.com, and when you go to the website, you pick out one of our newsletters, and you get to the promo code spot on the order form. You enter the promo code 2021 half off, 2021 HALFOFF, and you get 50% off of any of the products for any of the time frame you specify. So it's 2021 half off at VRTrader.com.
Bitcoin, pretty much an adventure over the last few days, losing 20%, gaining a lot of it back, and people are wondering about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Today, the news is the U.S. government is thinking about forcing you to report any crypto transactions to the IRS if that transaction is worth $10,000 or more. Is that a factor now in crypto trading?
Well, it depends if you've got that much crypto. So, but why would that deter someone necessarily? I mean, you have to declare taxes. I'm not happy about any government interference. We always are fearful of that, but if you're making money on it, you're trading it. But if you're doing less than 10,000, I guess you don't have to do that. There's a lot of chatter about the government's unhappy about the cryptos and whether they could really do anything to change it. They'd have to shut down the internet. Basically, as you know, the crypto market came into existence because of distrust of government, distrust of currencies, distrust of the equity markets, distrust of the banking system, and so forth. So, I guess they're getting nervous. Ultimately, there's a lot of talk the government will create its own digital currency. Some of my sources, I talk to think it's already in existence, and we'll hear about it pretty soon. And many of our bank accounts will be automatically converted to a digital, either a cryptocurrency or digital assets of some kind. What's the point of this? Well, they can track us more carefully, they could see everything we're doing more than in a cash society. So there's been a war on cash for a long time, and this is just another step in that direction. But as far as the Bitcoin, it was due for a bit of a correction, technically, and we were trading a little bit. We trade the GBTC, which we've mentioned before, which is the Bitcoin Trust, and it hit a little bit of a support level around 29, and it bounced. Well, I'm watching it. There are many who are saying, oh, it's over and it's going to go to zero. Of course, we've heard that before. Some sources say it's going to $500,000 or $1 million. So what you got to do is trade this stuff. You got to know where you're wrong. You got to buy pullbacks, and unless you just buy a small amount and just put it away. But the real story is there's other currencies, cryptocurrencies. And Bitcoin is very expensive. And there's the XRP, which is a new currency. And you've got, of course, the big one that's got a lot of press is the Dogecoin, comically known as the doggy coin, that Elon Musk has been talking about. And we also hear other famous people, promoting it as well. A really neat little tweet today. It was really funny. I don't know if you've seen a lot of the little visuals, memes they call them, on the internet with the dog going to the moon and Elon Musk with him. I got this really cute tweet today. I just just cracked me up. I was driving, and it said, "Look at the doggy in the window." So much with the doggy coin. I think there's more to it. I don't think it's over. I think it's tradable. I tell you what, I'm not new to this universe because we have a blockchain newsletter, and we've been around for, a couple, 3 years, writing about it and so forth. But just, personally, it's a lot of fun because the crypto market, there's little websites you can go to. There's Coinbase, of course. There's one called Uphold. You can go to these websites and sign up, but you can trade 24/7. So if you're bored in the middle of the night, or you have to go to the bathroom, you got nothing else to do, these things trade all over the place. And I've been doing a little bit of that myself. It's just sort of fun. I mean, some of these things like the doggy coin, trades, it was under a fraction of a penny, and it got up to, I think, the 70 cents. And I don't know where it is at the moment. I think it was around the 40-cent level. Some are predicting it's going to anywhere from $1 to $5. And, Musk is behind it, and Mark Cuban supposedly likes it. There's discussion that Amazon might pick it up as an acceptable currency. It all apparently started as a joke, Jim, a few years ago, but I also saw an article today that apparently Elon Musk was involved with the creators of the Dogecoin is the official name. I call it the doggy coin. It's more fun that way. But apparently he was involved with those developers back in 2019. So it's a real vehicle out there, and again, it's tradable. Whether it's going to go to astronomical numbers or not is sort of irrelevant. The name of my business, or Leibovit VR newsletters, but the short access is VR Trader, and we're looking just to make money. I mean, I could care less what it is. I mean, we could trade tulips. I mean, if you had a market for the tulips and it was a security, we could trade those, as happened hundreds of years ago before they blew off, and had one of these parabolic advances. So there's hundreds of these coins and tokens out there, they call them, and you got to focus on a few. And we mentioned some in the blockchain letter, and I encourage you, if you're not familiar with it, you may want to check that out. But bottom line is, I'm not going to make any predictions here. I mean, we're just going to trade them, and whether Bitcoin is going to 0 or to 1 million, I don't really care, because I can see the patterns on the chart, and you can see if they're starting to come off a bottom or looking toppy, and there's a short opportunity in them or not. There's some that I know say, no, you just got to own a few of these and just put them away, because they could be worth astronomical numbers down the road. And I heard a story today from one of my money manager friends that Warren Buffett is indirectly involved with one of the coins, and I don't want to mention names because I haven't confirmed all the information. And there could be some real big plays there. So I guess the bottom line is this is not going away. This is not, Bitcoin's blowing up, it's all a phony thing, and it's going to 0. What are you talking about, this nonsense? That's not the case at all. These are real vehicles. Which ones will survive is the question. Which ones are going to be backed by some of the big players like the Elon Musks and the Mark Cubans and the Amazon people and so forth. And it's like picking the right stock or picking the right industry. You got to do your homework. And if you're, if they create, I don't know if they've created one or not, but I think there's one in the works, like an ETF, an exchange traded fund that buys all these cryptos, and you have diversification, and you own like a basket of them, and you participate in that sector the way you would participate in cannabis stocks or solar stocks or gold stocks. So it is a alternative investment opportunity. So I enjoy it. A lot of action in it. It's sort of fun, and like I say, when you start seeing tweets like the doggy in the window, and you're looking at the doggy coin, and it's sort of fun. It added a bit of humor and excitement to the industry, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after this.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, do you feel the stock markets are near their peak or peaking out, or are we just a little nervous?
Well, I don't want to sound like a doom and gloomer, and we are traders, and anything is possible. Government's printing money like crazy and so forth, but I'm more in the bear camp, and I said before in the show, sell may go away, which is no great insight. So I think, between now and the fall, you're going to see a very choppy market, and I'm sure there's going to be, like I say, trades on both sides, but my overall bias is negative. We've been trading in our service what's known as a total stock market index on the short side, and we've had like 2 or 3 consecutive winning trades in it. We wait for a big break, we cover the short, rallies back up again, we get the short again, and just trading that. I mean, if I had to make a prediction, and I'm probably dead wrong, I would say we're probably entering a bear market overall over the next 12 to 18 months. I'd be cautious, looking out the next 12, 18 months, but if I had a long-term portfolio, depends what your age is. I mean, if you're 24 years old, I would say don't worry about what I have to say because, you get bear markets and then the market doubles again in 10 years. And by the time you're retired, you're way ahead by doing nothing. So on the long-term horizon, but if you're in your 60s, 70s or older and you're concerned about, whether you're going to have retirement money, I would say this is the point where you might want to be lightening up.
Are there any things that you would call safe havens? Everybody wants a safe place to put their money where there's some growth. Or nowadays, do you have to be pretty nimble afoot to keep on top of stuff if you're going to make any cash and keep it?
There's no such thing as a safe haven other than a CD in the bank, or Treasury security, government Treasury security. And some people say don't even buy government bonds because you don't know if the government's going to be there, but I think in the case of the Canadian and U.S. markets, you're probably safe, but you'd have to keep very short-term expirations. You don't go out 10 years because if interest rates go up, you're going to lose the value of your bond. But if you're buying 90-day or 6-month Treasury bills and stuff, there's no way you're going to lose money there, but you're not going to make very much. But interest rates are probably going higher in the months and the years ahead. So the Treasury securities, might offer, a few percentage points return that would be 100% safe, so to speak, versus, what they're earning right now. But there's risk in every market. And, look what happened last March, where the Dow drops from 29,000 down to 18,000, and now it goes to 34,000, So if you're prepared for 30 to 50% corrections, my view is the stock market is still okay, again, on the long term, again, depending on your age and your ability to, suffer short-term pullbacks in the markets. One thing I would suggest for most any investor is try to have a portfolio of dividend-paying securities, so you're generating some cash flow along the way. So if you have a dividend portfolio, and many dividends are still pretty good out there. I have a whole list of stocks anywhere from 3% up to 10% annual payments. So if you're getting that check every month and the stocks drop 30%, but then 2 years, 3 years later, they're back up again, you've still been receiving that cash distribution and you're getting some income along the way. Some people take those dividends and reinvest them in the stocks, so they end up having even a bigger position, but if they need the income, they have it. So I would say, a dividend portfolio, if you're more near to longer term, is the best strategy. And as far as being safe, that's a little safer because the companies that pay dividends had done so for many ones that we would look at have paid dividends for many years. Like one name I've liked for many years is Altria, which is the old Philip Morris. I mean, it pays, I think, 8 to 10% dividend. I mean, you don't like the fact they sell cigarettes, but they also are into a lot of food products and other commodities too. So there are some names out there with big name companies that pay a decent dividend if you're looking for that dividend return. And all these stocks are cyclical. They have a few bad years and they go up again. And meanwhile, you're still getting your play. So that would be sort of my answer to your question about safety, in the markets. If you get dividend paying stocks in the big name companies, whether it's 2 to 8% range and a whole balance of that, you're going to be a lot better off than just buying, a high growth, high tech stock that doesn't pay any dividend, and you just only see the returns from the stock itself.
We like to talk about geocosmic events, and 60 Minutes did a thing about the Pentagon coming clean and all the UFO reports their pilots have had. Do you have any theories about what's going on there?
I think we're getting closer to, a revolution on the reporting here. I'm going to put a little video on my website tonight for the subscribers tomorrow. There was a bunch of unidentified objects that were taking videos, taking pictures up off of a ship, and it's really an interesting video when you see these things, a whole cluster of these things in the sky. Whether they're our own military, technology up there, or they're alien craft, that I can't say. There's so much stuff going on out there, but we've had reports, and this is multi-decades about extraterrestrial craft, even going back to the Nazis that have crashed, and many of the parts or the crafts have been reverse engineered, and I give that a lot of credit. You've got my mind just went blank this past week. The former senator from Nevada, who was the majority leader in the Senate, he came out with a story about alien parts being stored by one of the big aerospace companies. He was trying to get confirmation of that, and it came out this past week. It was in the major press. So I wish I could pull the name up here for you as we're on the phone.
Well, sure. The band, the Foo Fighters, that's in reference, I'm sure, to World War II pilots in the Pacific. They saw lots of strange things in the sky, and they referred to them as Foo Fighters, or the French word faux for fake, because they'd fly towards the object. They could never catch it. It was way too fast. And but they were scared to report it to their commanders, because they didn't want to be considered insane. They used to call it going Asiatic in the Marines. Right. And, but you'll notice the military reports now are from multiple crew aircraft. It's not a single jet fighter pilot. It's somebody flying a military transport or a bomber that has a multiple flight crew. So the pilot will look around to the other three guys and say, "Did you see what I just saw?" "Oh yeah, we did." And what's more, they've got video cameras now on board all the airplanes. So it's being captured. There's also a report that the British and U.S. military came out with about 12 years ago that was about UFOs, and they said all we've determined right now is that they're not a national security threat. What does that tell us?
Well, I found the story that I was referring to a moment ago before you filled me in on the Foo Fighters story, but the headline was UFO fragments are likely at Lockheed Martin's possession, according to ex-Senator Harry Reid, who used to be the majority leader in the U.S. Senate, and came out during the week. So we've heard stories for decades about fragments from UFOs being stored everywhere from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio all the way to, was it Robert Bigelow's aerospace company in Las Vegas, and on and on and on. So anyway, we talk about this stuff, and people say it's a financial show, and what are you talking about? But, if part of this is true, and if we have reverse engineered some of these craft, many of the things that we could be seeing in the sky could be our own craft that we have extremely advanced technology. So my belief is whether it's an alien reverse engineered craft, which, I'm sort of biased to that, but let's just say we have our own, and I believe there's a secret space program out there, that we have our own super science type craft military that the average person doesn't know about, and these are the ones we could be seeing that our own military doesn't talk about, but only certain people in the military, I guess, know about it, and they're being photographed. But some of the stuff I've seen over many, many years, this is multiple sources. We have technology that makes our stuff that you see on TV more mirror what you've seen in Star Trek. That we already have stuff that could go to the moon in a matter of minutes, or go to Mars and do all kinds of crazy stuff, and go from the North Pole to the South Pole in a matter of a few minutes at speeds which are just astronomical. And some of these have been photographed, supposedly. So this is great for humankind and for our civilization, that we have this type of progress, and how this could benefit everybody is what we really should be talking about. And if this kind of technology exists out there, how could it make the world a better place?
Sure. Tesla found a way to send electricity hundreds of miles through the air without wires. What would that do? You could have electric planes and ships out of the ocean.
Right, Nikola Tesla, genius. Some say he was an alien. He's got
anybody who's smarter than you is an alien.
Yeah, or he was influenced by some of the stuff he came up with. But anyway, your question was, you started the conversation. I mean, I think there's a huge article we put in our newsletter this past week about what the state of this all is, and there's more and more disclosure going on. Whether we're going to get a big revelation of disclosure or not, I think we're getting closer and closer to it. And I don't think this is like the old Michael Reddy Day the Earth Stood Still film back in 1953, I believe, where they land on in the White House lawn or Lafayette Park or wherever it is in Washington, and then someone steps out, robot. I don't think that's the kind of thing we're talking about, but I think, what kind of revelation is there? There's artifacts that they're finding on Mars now. There's people that have photographed, I've seen this for years, objects on the moon. We don't see the dark side of the moon. There's remnants of, either an ancient civilization or if you want to call it alien civilization may already exist. So there's stuff out there, and, maybe some more of that will be brought into the public eye that has really, I think been covered up over the decades. We're going back to the moon again. We haven't been going for a long time. And some of the radio ham operators that were listening to the Apollo missions are saying that a lot of the transmissions were cut off when the astronauts saw stuff and said things that you wouldn't believe actually occurred, like, there's a couple saucer-type ships watching us over the horizon, and they're sitting there right above us, and they cut them off so the public wouldn't hear that, but apparently radio ham operators heard this, and this is going way, way back. So there's probably stuff on the moon that, they don't want to tell people about, and there's been a cover-up for a long time, and this has been, sort of a pet project for me for many, many years, just researching and talking to people, and, how does it relate to the stock market? Well, I don't know. It's technology. I admire Elon Musk for what he's trying to do, and of course he wants to build the bases on Mars and do all these things. And there are people believe in the theory that we came from Mars, that Mars destroyed itself, and the inhabitants left Mars thousands or hundreds of thousands of years ago and came to Earth, and we're going back home. Mars is where we came from, or one of the places we came from. So there's a lot of theories out there about what the compelling reason is to go to Mars. Mars could have been, unfortunately, Earth could end up that way if we end up destroying ourselves, which is a theory of what might happen to Mars, and what happened to the planet that existed supposedly between Mars and Jupiter, the
asteroid belt.
Asteroid belt. That's a bunch of rocks out there, and it makes sense that used to be a planet that got blown to smithereens. There might have been galactic wars. So, when I sit and look, when I ponder these things, and we're getting a lot off tangent on a financial show. You wonder when you watch the movie Star Wars, and it opens up with the caption "A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away." You wonder if really that's what really has happened, and those are images of what really happened in the universe in the past, and places of civilizations destroyed themselves. Mars could have been one of them. We migrated to other planets. All kinds of interesting theories and stories out there. But I believe, with the discovery of so many of these exoplanets, they call them now, that could support life. Of course, many of them are many light years away. I believe there's several hundred that have been identified already that have equivalent size and atmosphere to the Earth. It's impossible that there isn't civilization and possibly millions of years advanced to us that already exist. So it'd be naive to believe otherwise, and I think that's the reality. Whether you and I and our audience are going to be around to really see or experience some of these other civilizations, whether the information will be shared with us. A lot of it's been kept secret for a long time. That I can't say. I sure hope it does. But, there's always this fear that too much information comes out could cause riots, problems with the religious community, and on and on and on. But I think the truth has to ultimately prevail here.
Well, back in the 1800s, they were actively talking about civilizations and other planets, and they did bring up religion. Well, if the universe was made by God, they'd be the same children of God as we are. They might look different, but they're not different in the eyes of God.
And how do you know there's still, you can't say there's no God just because there's alien or other civilizations in the universe. Maybe all of them believe in a higher power and there's a God no matter where planet you came from. So, it doesn't mean you give up on religion because, what was the Force in Star Wars? I mean, the Force is a power in the universe. You can call that, that could be an ongoing force, whether you can want to categorize it spiritual or not. I mean, there's forces out there. We know intuition works. We know people have psychic powers. We know there's all kinds of crazy things you can't explain. And I know and the power of prayer is very powerful. I've seen results of that in my own life. So there are forces out there we can't explain, and whether it's psychic, religious, or otherwise, and why some other worlds and parallel universes might not share the same view I can't imagine that not being the case. So we have to keep an open mind, and it'll be interesting to see what's going to come out. But what's unfortunate is there are governments that prevent us from hearing the truth or hearing all the information in the sake of national security and in the sake of controlling the populations and not revealing all the information. And unfortunately, this has been going on a long time. And we're even seeing that now with the virus and the COVID, where we're not getting all the information, and some of it is untruth that's being broadcast to us about the virus and about vaccines and about masks. And we find out, some of it's true and some of it's not. So anytime you've got government involved making the decisions for everyone, and you got a problem in finding out where the truth really lies, no matter what the subject. So this has been a problem forever.
Mark, can you remind people again about the special offer?
Sure. Come to vrtrader.com. I can't make any UFO recommendations there, folks, so don't look for that. But we do put some articles in that are interesting regarding what's happening. But it's at vrtrader.com, and the promo code is 2021 half off when you go to the promo code section for 50% off of any of our newsletters.
My guest has been Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as vrtrader.com. If you have any questions for Mark or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@housestreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HouseStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HouseStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at talkdigitalnetwork.com. HowStreet.com Radio is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.